The best comparison I can make to the rendering of this martial art contest, Fred Astaire's walking on ceilings and dancing on ceilings and walls, and some of the light-hearted acrobatic routines of Gene Kelly in outdoor urban settings. Greetings. This is Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn. My name is John Savers. I'm your host, and today we'll take a look at a recent film, A Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is a Sony company film. It was directed by Ang Lee. He's a relatively unknown director, I think, Taiwanese born. Trained at New York University's film school, and I think good. This film also has a performance by the famed cellist Yo-Yo Ma in part of the musical accompanying the film, which I also liked. The film stars Chow Yun-Fat as a great warrior named Li Mu Bai, and also Michelle Yeoh as the Shu Lin. The cast is rather large, and it makes a period piece film that is epic and enjoyable for the most part. Like most epic films, this is fairly lengthy. The tone of the film is pastoral, martial, romantic, and has a poetic quality to it in these matters. The film has many kung fu type fights, which involve, for the most part, the special effects seen in the film. I thought they were rather well done, actually, the special effects, and the fighting scenes were very well choreographed, and given the length and all, you had to admire the stamina of the people involved. For the most part, the female leads. This film is basically a female film. That is, the main characters and the main tests and the main symbols and so forth all seem to be women. Now, I think that that is kind of an interesting aspect. This film is a Han Dynasty, Imperial Dynasty film. I read somewhere where 80% of the present Chinese population in the Republic of China is ethnically Han. So in a way, the dynasty still lives on, shucked of its imperial trappings. But at any rate, we have a storyline that goes something like this. An aging warrior, Li Mu Bai, played again by Chow Yun-Fat, kind of decides that maybe he would like to retire. That seems to be the idea, and gives his famed sword, Green Destiny, to a friend, an important government official, Sir T. When this sword is stolen, and when he learns that his bête noire, Jade Fox, is involved, he comes out of retirement, so to speak, to assist his sort of closeted flame, Shu Lin, in pursuing Jade Fox in the theft of the Green Destiny sword, and this takes up a great part of the film. There is a subplot that is brought into the film, which is something of an echo of the love angle in this particular film. And it tends to also bring together the main forces of good and evil, and it all resolves itself in a way which is a little bit obscure and sort of lyrical, and it leaves an ending which some people will sort of puzzle about. But all in all, I think it's well worth seeing. There is, as a caveat, one adult scene of a sexual sort, but other than that, it's pretty much of a sedate film. The film, I think, overall might be categorized as a film of love, and for all the martial doings and whatnot, the relationship of the aging warrior to Shu Lin being one of the romantic parts of this film that lasts from beginning to end and is the major theme, their relationship. But there's a secondary one between the governor's daughter, Jin, and a bandit from the western area named Lo, and that has to be brought into consideration. Now, this particular daughter of the governor, Wu, Jin, is only 13 or 14 years old, but she's very willful, haughty, abrupt on the one hand, and on the other hand, she has very romantic ideas of being free, and also sort of amoral ideas of doing what you want, stealing from people, fighting with people, killing them if needed be, if they get in your way, and basically a me first kind of existence, the reign of the id almost, but she is sort of counterpointed by Shu Lin. Shu Lin is not like Jin, an aristocrat, according to birth, but she is altogether a noble woman, and her ideas are reserved. That is, she believes in order and restraint and duty, selflessness, working, and all those little attributes that make a society work, while the aristocratic Jin has all the ideas that make society fall apart, and is sort of characteristic of a criminal society. Interestingly enough, in the background there is a noted gang, a hoodlum underworld gang called the Jiang Hu, which have a lifestyle somewhat similar to what the daughter of Governor Wu seems to find ideal. True, she's immature, and true, romantic, and so forth. Later on, it will also become clear how she was pulled in this direction, what affected her ideas. It happens to be her love for the bandit Lo. I'll clue you in. The other woman who becomes kind of an important symbol also is Jade Fox, who seems to be the embodiment almost of the lesbo-feminist, violent, criminal sort, a perverted vision, a killer, an assassin, and so forth. And these really are the three main forces at work in this sort of symbolic almost of political ideas. We find that The Jade Fox idea sort of embodies all those impulses which came to a realization in the communist regimes with their massive slaughter of people, their regimentation, and the organized theft and looting of the country. Now, which also the Jiang Hu might be considered a representative or prefigurement. But at any rate, the film opens up with a shot of a sort of a rustic area, an abode or small village. It turns out to be in the vicinity of Peking and not far from the imperial Forbidden City. It's the abode of an important government official, Sir T. There's the usual kind of bustling about and so forth. We see the hero, Li Mu Bei, approach. He goes to the friend and government official Sir T's abode. This abode is protected by his old friend and sort of closeted flame, Shu Lin. She is running a security outfit called Sun Security, which her father had started. She's a very competent person, respected, and she has a position which seems atypical for women of that time. Therefore, she is something of a hero, I think, to the young women of the area. She is deferential to her friend, the warrior played by Chow Yun-fat, greets him. Michelle Yeoh, who plays his character, is filled with, I think, indications of something deeper feelings for this man. And Cho, who plays the man, Li Mu Bai, is far more restrained. He seems to be more cerebral, more spiritual in his mien. She's more down to earth, and it's pretty clear that she has powerful emotions working in her, Ray, this fellow. Now, she is always restrained, however, and they talk, and he lets her know that he intends to give his famed mythic sword, the Green Destiny, to his friend Sir T. This is filled with implications. It suggests his retirement, which I think he alludes to, with implications that maybe he and she may finally unite in wedlock and settle into a peaceful existence, harmonious and so forth, and all those things which they may have wished to have in that period in China. She is very surprised at all this, and as it's full of implications in her mind, she is sort of excited, and I think that's also clear. She warns him that perhaps he should think this over, but he goes ahead and does it. She tells him, as he wants to go quickly to the monastery at Wudan to take care of some business, that she will see that Sir T gets the sword, which she does. When she gives it to him, he is sort of unwilling to take it, but she convinces him to do so. Now, he has a guest with him at this time, the Governor Wu and his entourage, and the daughter Jin, who is betrothed to a member of a very powerful family, the Gus. She is about 13 or 14 years old and not at all enthusiastic about this marriage. She's a pretty little thing, and we see her, that is Shu Lin, meets her. She's befriended. The Jinn seems to want to have a sister-like relationship. She's filled with admiration for Shulin and her life, which she sees as free and full of fighting and so forth, daring do. The older woman tries to assure her that it's not quite that romantic and alludes to some of the practical problems faced by somebody in her line of work, or that of, in fact, the warrior Li Mu Bai. But the young girl can't be driven off from her fantasies that easily. We see also a kind of a older lady, maid or servant who takes care of her wants and gives her a little advice here and there, but generally it's ignored. Well, we have a cut tonight, and we see a very nimble figure tracing across, scurrying across the roof. The facility is being protected at that point in time by a strapping security figure named Bo. He notes that something's amiss here. He senses, but he can't see anything. And for those who witness this scurrying woman, or figure rather, it's understandable. The figure is kind of a ninja-like figure. We see the figure kind of making its way inside the room in which Sir T has put the Green Destiny sword through a kind of a transom. She gets in and goes right to it, folds it, and puts it in a back receptacle and prepares to leave. By this time, Bo has gotten pretty sure that something's amiss here, and he opens the door into this darkened chamber and immediately is attacked by this ninja-like figure and given what for. Now, the handling of this particular character, Bo, is constantly treated with a good deal of humor. And I think he's supposed to be taken to be something of a fool, but at any rate, she gets out. There is a hullabaloo, and the rest of the household comes alert, including the head of the Sun security group, Shulin, and she goes forth pursuing this ninja-like figure, and finally confronts her, and they begin to fight in this kung fu-like way. And right off the reel, Shulin recognizes that this particular ninja-like figure is acquainted with a very obscure but powerful martial art called Wudan. Well, it's quite a martial art because it also involves flying. It's a peculiar kind of flying in the sense that they seem to be skipping along in the air with their legs and feet moving as if their feet could get a grip on the air. Well, of course, it's not dense enough for there to be any kind of resistance. They don't have that Superman-like cool of keeping the legs be. So we see them, even when they're in the air, moving their feet as if they're scampering about. So this pursues. Now, Shulin, of course, is a master of this herself, as is her love, Li Mu Bai. Skipping ahead now, Li Mu Bai has returned. He is surprised that his Green Destiny sword has been purloined. It also happens that about this time a poster bearing the image of Jade Fox appears in the courtyard of Sir T's abode. Shulin gets a look at this poster, and we see the image, and almost everyone should recognize that this is a familiar face. Yes, right. She recognizes this face and knows it to be that of the maid, the older maid servant of the governor Vu's daughter, Jin. She kind of keeps that to herself, but she does allow Li Mu Bai to understand that Jade Fox is somehow involved in this purloined sword and may be hiding in the entourage of the governor. Well, now, it just so happens that Jade Fox killed the mentor and brother of Li Mu-bai many years back. Ming was his name, Ming Chu. He was engaged to marry Shulin, and with his death, of course, that ended. And because of the relationship of Li Mu-bai and to Ming Zhu and so forth, any thought of a romance between Li and Shulin was deferred. The feelings were there, but they were closeted, locked up, hidden away, and the external relationship was correct, cordial, suggestive perhaps, meaningful in suggestion, but undeveloped. Now, the investigation into this theft and the finding of Jade Fox, an individual, Li Mu-bai, has vowed to terminate with extreme prejudice, as they say, take up the great bulk of the film. However, the relationship of the daughter Jin and of the bandit Lo is brought into the picture by means of a flashback. It's a rather lengthy flashback, and we see the young woman in a caravan that gets waylaid by Dark Cloud and his band of some 40 or 50 hoodlums, and they get away with some goods, and because the young lady decided to pursue a purloined jade comb held by the bandit Dark Cloud, she herself was captured. Incidentally, this terrain in West China calls to mind a good deal of the American West, and this film has certain resonance with American Westerns. But at any rate, he finally subdues her, and he is polite to her, treats her female vulnerability with a good deal of respect throughout most of his holding her in capture. But things do progress, and before you know it, a passionate relationship develops between the two. I think we may have some of that psychological development that they say comes into being between a captor and his captive. Moving on. Now, it just so happens that Jade Fox had years before been able to steal from the Wudan monastery a manual illustrating the martial arts which they have, and also a text and so forth, full manual. She can't read, but she did learn a crude rendering of the Wudan skill through the illustrations. Now, her ward, so to speak, Jin, who can read, actually on the quiet learned not only the illustrations but the text, and became far more skillful than her mentor, and this she reveals later on. Her mentor wishes that Jin will go with her to live a life of brigandage, to do what they want, to fight, kill, take what they want, the Jinghu morality, the underground world, and so forth. But this does not exactly suit the aims of Jin now, who has met the bandit Lo and has him as her companion in life in the back of her mind. So that figures into the matter also. Now, Li Mu-bai and Shulin managed to capture Lo, and they talked to him. and he relates his love for Jin, and this touches these two who are themselves in unexpressed love, and they decide to help him, and they tell him to go to the monastery at Wudan and stay there, and they will resolve this matter and maybe bring Jin to him. So he agrees to do this. In conclusion, she has some poison darts to do this with, the very instrument she used to kill his mentor Ming. She awaits. They do show up. There is a struggle. It looks like Li Bu Bai has defeated the attempted assassination. He himself then gives a mortal wound to Jade Fox. Dying, she cackles that he too will die. At this point, he notices pulling something from his neck, a dart which had been stuck in his neck. He is stunned, and Shu Lin is stricken because they realize that he has been mortally wounded. For her, it means the death of the love, the passionate love, which she has never experienced. Jin comes back with the antidote. It's too late. She finds Li Mu Bai dead. This leads to a sort of epilogue in which we find Jin reunited with Wudan, with Lo at Wudan. They have a passionate reunion. Nevertheless, we see across the way through his eyes his lover Jin at a bridge. She is peering over this great abyss. We have her reminding him of the mythic tale. He seems to recall, and then we see her jumping off into the abyss. What did she wish? Well, that's for me to know and for you to find out. We're out of time again. This is Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn. My name is John Savers. I'm your host.